first flight of the orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Okay. It's been a while, so let's jump right into this. What's going on, everybody? Hey, how what up? What's happening? It's Commodore Wolfboy, aka Pretty Blicky, aka Slick Blick, aka your favorite baby father, and I have returned after forever of not fucking streaming. A bunch of crazy shit happened over the holidays. Not to me, but just to the people around me. And you know, I'm a sweetheart, so I be caring about shit. Then I just had to take a break because I found myself being very frustrated with a lot of stuff that was going on. AKA Kirby fanatic, yes. Y'all see the Kirbyage. You feel what I'm saying? Got the bread, the little bed cover. So this hat, Yoshi made me this hat by hand. It has silk lining on the inside. One side of it is pink, one side of it is blue, right? She made that by hand. Then she bought me this. Yoshi bought me the Kirby Switch case, the Kirby controller, and the Kirby stuffed animal, right? And I don't really do the stuffed animal thing, but when my peoples buy me stuff, I just go with it because, for the most part, if I don't hate it, I love it because the people I love bought me something. Um, cared about me enough to like go do that. So it just fills me with a lot of joy, and I try to be, very appreciative of that regardless. Yeah, shout out to Yoshi for showing hella love. Yoshi's actually in the hospital right now. Uh, that's one of the things, I was upset about. Uh, but yeah, I'm working through that process mentally of dealing with somebody I love very deeply being in the hospital. Everybody who I talk to pretty much every day, they are my favorite people. So, to be without one of your forever people, you just raw dog in reality and shit. Uh, it can be very traumatizing in its own way. But enough about my crybaby backstory. I finally got up off my ass and made myself something to eat. I made myself some gigantic fucking raviolis. Um, they said they're gonna be okay, uh, and I trust them at this particular junction to, be honest about how they feel. Uh, so, you know, I'm hopeful that everything is gonna be okay. But you know how it is for a lot of people in the medical industry. Um, sometimes people are discriminated against because of their ethnicity. Sometimes people are discriminated against because of their gender. Sometimes they're discriminated against because of, whether they're poor or whether they had money or not, all of that good stuff. Um, so I try to keep that in mind, and I hope that, whatever demographic she falls into, or however, people perceive her uh in the hospital, they don't treat her poorly because of that. We got an ad coming up in a minute just to give y'all a heads up, I'm gonna be playing some Warframe, but first, I'm going to be watching a Warframe explained video, the plot explained video. I just watched one not too long ago, but I want to refresh and make sure that everybody in the chat who's basically been here for a while can experience the beauty of like some of the plot that we've missed out on. So if you want to go back and play the game, I definitely recommend it. Um, but yeah, in about 20 seconds, the ad finna play. So I'm gonna let this ad play and take a couple of bites of my food that I made, finally, eating something. And I'm gonna talk to y'all in the chat until the ads are done. This shit is hot. I need like a thing. Mm-mm. All right, the ad ends in about a minute. All right, is the ad over yet? Are we safe? I usually get a notification on this side when the ad is over with, but just in case, I waited a couple more. Hey, which ravioli was I biting off of a couple of seconds ago? There's so much ravioli in here, and all the ravioli are big as shit. All right, we should be good now. All right, so I'm gonna mute that. So real quick, give a shout out to RevanX. This is their video. Please and thank you. If you enjoy any of this content that I'm about to react to, please give them a like. Please give them a subscribe. I just subscribed and liked the video because I was just watching this a couple of minutes ago, and I like the way they explain the story. So real quick, before we play Warframe, I'm gonna get into this, this plot explained video. Again, this is by Revan X. I'm gonna go to the channel real quick. I am subscribed. I just subscribed and liked the video. So again, please, if you enjoy this content, go to this person's channel. I'm actually gonna take a copy of their YouTube and I'm gonna drop that link in Twitch chat so y'all have access to it and it's easier for y'all to go support. Please and thank you. Even just, liking the video would be great. Also, I got my ASMR content. I like watching what is it? What are they called? The fucking snap crackle pop videos where they be breaking people necks and shit. Yo, in this particular channel, this dude right here, right? He has the softest fucking voice. But the way he be scaring the shit out of these girls, cause they little as hell. And it's this tall, real thick armed Korean dude who just got this deep voice. And
자,
he'd be like,
골반을 약간
그리
오른쪽으로
시선,
이렇게 이렇게 해서 다리 이렇게 쭉
시선,
넘겨드릴 거예요.
그리
이 상태로
시선. And then he'll just like
자,
crack the shit out of
그대로
somebody's
이제
shit. It's the
편안하게
funniest shit
등을
in the
쭉
world.
빼시고
I be falling asleep to this shit because it's so fucking funny. Like I'll sit here and I'll just listen to this shit for hours in the background while I'm doing other shit. But yeah, if y'all like listening to people get their shit snap crackled and pop, I definitely recommend I definitely recommend that channel. I think it's another dude on there. He's a Asian dude with glasses. I don't know if he's Korean or not, but he's also like I like the way he speaks, like the pace at which he speaks. Uh, yeah, and it's very relaxing because I got ADHD and content like that has like nice background noise and like I don't understand what's being said, but there's like constant, you feel what I'm saying? Like there's some sort of, very soft, gentle, like talking or whatever. It feels like I'm sitting in a library. And I'm a library kid, right? I grew up going to Enoch Pratt free library, so uh yeah, just content like that is very fun. Whether it be to fucking fall asleep to or to play in the background while I'm playing a game or some shit. But yeah, enough talk. Get into this intro. Revan X. With time travel, parallel universes, and changing to the lore, it is difficult to have one cohesive chronological timeline. If I made any mistakes, please let me know so I can fix them. Have fun watching. I don't know enough about the Warframe universe to claim he made any mistakes, so I'm just gonna, well, that he or she made any mistakes because I don't remember if this is a man or a woman or not. Because I briefly watched the video for like a couple of seconds yesterday in the middle of me doing a bunch of other shit. But yeah, uh, I'm pretty sure it's a dude. I could be wrong though. Shout out to all the legitimate quad homies. So my fault if if I got your gender identity wrong. Hmm. But all jokes aside, yeah, I don't know enough about this to judge. So
Begin again.
Welcome. I am Cephalon. Your recollection of past events is fractured. Throughout this memory segment correction, I will be your guide. I will recap all main events for your convenience. Initiating in 3, 2, 1. Before the Tenno assumes control of his Warframes, the Origin solar system was home to the Orokin Empire, a highly advanced version of humankind. This empire was structured into strict castes, with the gilded Orokin as the ruling aristocracy, morally corrupt and revered almost as gods. Beneath them were humans who served as scientists and scholars, alongside the early Grineer, crudely cloned slaves designed for labor and later military purposes. Additionally, the Dax made up the elite soldiers, genetically engineered for absolute obedience to their Orokin masters. Ordinary humans were largely looked down upon, bearing little resemblance to the Orokin in mind or appearance. The Orokin, described as angelic and incomprehensibly beautiful, had bluish-gray skin and glowing eyes. They were obsessed with eternal life, conducting inhumane experiments on their subordinates to fulfill their ambitions. Despite their moral depravity, the Orokin were unparalleled in intellect, creating monumental tools for terraforming planets and shaping ecosystems. They established habitable environments on frozen tundra and gas giants, showcasing their unmatched technological prowess. Governance within the Orokin Empire was carried out by unseen emperors who ruled through executors. And even though sparse in information, it is known that there was a multitude of different ruling bodies making up the governance of the Orokin below the emperors. While the Orokin lived in opulence, most humans endured harsh conditions, relegated to mining colonies or fragmented tribes struggling for survival. At the peak of their technological power, the disparity between an Orokin and a human was vast. It was likely a punishable crime for the two classes to intermingle. Like a mirror, there exists a parallel universe brimming with infinite possibilities. Vaguely understood at this time, this void realm subtly infiltrated real space, shaping the Origin system in various ways. Occasional phenomena like space storms and interference hinted at its presence, but its elusive nature limited deeper exploration until much later. However, the energies of this realm were eventually harnessed into refined kuva, the substance that enabled the consciousness transfer known as the continuity. To achieve immortality, the Orokin utilized this kuva, a red mist-like substance, to cheat death. This process may have been responsible for their unique skin tones, cementing their image as otherworldly beings. Only the most visually attractive individuals, known as the Yuvan, were selected as hosts for these ceremonies, which took place in locations closely connected to void activity. During the ritual, an Orokin would consume kuva and transfer their consciousness into the new host body of the Yuvan, effectively overwriting the original mind. It is believed that raw kuva might be a natural byproduct of void-related activity. In addition to their genetic experimentation, the Orokin engineered the Tephalons, intangible constructs of pure data without any physical form. Many of these entities originated from a grim punishment known as glassing, inflicted upon individuals deemed criminals or otherwise deserving of severe punishment.
What's going on with your extension? Is it not functioning properly? Because I can give you an example of what it looks like. If I go to my channel right here, right, this is normally what it looks like to me because I have a PC. If you scroll down just a little bit, right, under this, this is where the Poke Shop is, right? This is the Discord. This is the Poke Shop, or really just the whole app. Oh, okay, stream avatars. Okay. Yeah, that's funny. I like playing around with the stickers a little bit. But yeah, Inception. Yeah. 17 out of 30 subs. You're doing pretty good. Shout out to everybody who's been coming to watch my streams. I appreciate that. Like I said, if you scroll down a little bit and you're on PC or you have like a tablet or something with the right type of resources, you can basically just, scroll down a little bit and you'll have access to all the different extensions. And if there are other extensions y'all want me to add, just let me know. I'll look that shit up on stream. You feel me? And it'll be a lot easier if I set it up while I'm on stream. That way, y'all can see it in real time. And, I know if I'm doing it correctly or not. But yeah, this is what we doing right now. Got my ASMR from people getting a backs broken in, fucking their whole shit snap, crackled, and popped. And lo-fi, all of this good stuff. I was looking at some Blue Lantern Corps stuff, some stuff from what is it, the Outlast Trials, Henrietta Grubbs, because I took interest in Doris Ritter as a character. And then I found out about Henrietta Grubbs' storyline. That shit Shit made me so sad, bruh. For those who don't know, Henrietta Grubbs, I'm not gonna spoil like the whole story, but her character isn't just like one of the characters that chases you and she's the monster. Henrietta Grubbs used to just be a regular person, and Shorty was tortured until she went insane, and she only does what she does because she's crazy, and was tortured into being that way, much like pretty much everybody else in the Outlast trials. But on top of that, she's one of the few people who is good natured, but then still maintains her sentience to some capacity. Like it's really sad. But Henrietta Grubbs, like if you're playing the game, I would just say when you come across Henrietta Grubbs and you can hide, just like hide from her for extended periods of time and let her dialogue play out. Whatever idle dialogue that plays out when you're going through the Outlast trials, just let that shit play out. Listen to it, thoroughly. Maybe even put subtitles on. That usually does the trick. If you're, hard of hearing, disabled or anything like that, throw the subtitles on. Or, you could just skip the line and, cut straight to watching a YouTube video like I am. Also, these are Hello Kitty gummy treats. I saw them in GoPuff and I had to partake. I am not disappointed, although I will say this is a crazy amount of gummies in one flavor. The whole bag is just that's crazy work. I'm just gonna throw. I was trying to get more gummies out to see if I could find a different color, but I'm gonna just snack on these a couple by a couple. I'm not gonna do that to myself. Because then I'm not even gonna finish eating my raviolis. Did all that time cooking, cutting up fresh garlic, made ginger paste, basil paste. And I said basil paste because I've been watching a lot of like stuff like Peaky Blinders and shit like that and Doctor Who. Basil. But yeah, using basil paste, ginger paste, fucking fresh garlic, all that. Diced up the onions, put it in the pan with some butter. You know, I really hooked the Alfredo sauce up.
This harrowing process transformed the victim's body into molten crystal glass,
Okay, so hold on, I got a phone call.
inflicting excruciating pain while digitizing and sometimes altering their mind. The cephalons inhabit the weave, a shared and intangible network that connects them. They now perform a variety of functions, such as aiding in ship navigation or managing data. Bound by their precepts, an unwavering set of directives or absolute code, they are incapable of defying their assigned tasks. Though not true artificial intelligence as they were forbidden, they exhibit remarkable capabilities, yet many remain burdened by the emotional scars and traumas of their former human existence. The life of an ordinary worker under the Orokin regime was difficult and without remorse. Among them was Parvos Granum, a humble farmer's son who grew increasingly enraged by the glaring disparity in wealth and labor within the empire. Determined to challenge this inequality, Parvos envisioned a guild where everyone could achieve success through hard work and discipline. He defied the Orokin by stealing vast financial resources and used them to kickstart his revolutionary journey. Parvos began by loaning portions of his acquired wealth, spreading his philosophy and promising influence to those willing to listen. Gradually, he amassed a loyal following of individuals who embraced his beliefs, inspired by his pledge to fulfill their deepest desires. As his movement gained momentum, Parvos accumulated unimaginable wealth and influence, ultimately establishing the city of Corposium, which provided the corpus with their name. What initially seemed like a prosperous collaboration between the Orokin and Parvos Granum was never meant to last. His unorthodox methods and scientific rivalry with the Orokin Entrati family eroded their trust and respect. Most notably, he stole some of their secret technologies to perfect his spectre particle, a breakthrough that soon allowed him to create duplicates of any suitable being. These spectre particles could imprint behavior akin to cephalon precepts, mimicking everything except the very essence of a soul. Deployed in combat, they functioned as highly effective drones. This act of defiance pushed the Orokin to send an assault team against him. However, Parvos's ability to anticipate and strategize made it nearly impossible for his enemies to catch him off guard. He rigged his research lab with explosives, ensuring that when the assault team arrived, they met their demise. Meanwhile, he had already secured his research, preserving the secrets of Spectre technology before vanishing. As the demands of their society soon outstripped the resources available in the Origin system, the Orokin devised a plan to colonize the neighboring Tau system. However, the vast distance presented a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. Albrecht Entrati, one of the Orokin's foremost scientists, turned his attention to the Void, which he believed could revolutionize technology and make faster-than-light travel possible. His groundbreaking research eventually led him to open a seam in reality, granting him access to this mysterious dimension. Through this gateway, Entrati encountered an eldritch being, as curious about him as he was about the Void itself. The towering creature communicated in an incomprehensible manner, and despite Entrati's extensive safety measures, the Void inflicted near-lethal effects on him. Just as the entity reached for him, Entrati's daughter intervened, pulling him out and severing one of the being's enormous fingers by closing the opening. The Void-induced injuries and unsettling knowledge he acquired left Entrati on the brink of death, but his family and dedicated assistant, Lloyd, nursed him back to health. Years later, Entrati resumed his relentless exploration of the Void. The severed finger proved to be a vital discovery, unlocking key insights into this parallel universe. Deciphering fragments of the entity's speech into the Requiem words and the Void's unique properties, Entrati constructed remarkable machines capable of securely harnessing its energy. One of these was a giant heart, still operational today, that supplies Void energy to various devices. The finger also played a crucial role in the creation of the reliquary drive, which was multiplied to great numbers through cloning. This innovative yet dangerous engine enabled Void jumps, an essential technology for the Orokin's ambitious plans. As their understanding of the Void deepened, they discovered its ability to manifest thoughts and emotions, twisting the very fabric of reality and posing significant risks to unfocused minds. To fight these dangers, the Orokin designed numerous countermeasures and advanced safeguards, like specialized shielding and wards to repel the ghost-like manifestations, though extensive trials for those safeguards were cut short. Underestimating the Void's dangers, the executors rushed for a large-scale application. The Zaraman 10-0 became the first ship of its scale, embodying the Orokin's aspirations for colonizing the Tau system, despite the inherent risks of Void travel. To make the Tau system habitable, the Orokin engineered highly advanced terraformers known as the Sentients. These constructs were remarkable for their ability to replicate, adapt to physical harm, and learn from their experiences. However, as they were still considered mere drones, fears arose regarding their potential to grow too numerous and powerful over time. To mitigate this threat, the Orokin introduced a critical flaw in the sentient's design, a vulnerability to void energy. This weakness would, over time, strip them of their ability to replicate and, with prolonged exposure, prove lethal. The Orokin's plan was to deploy the sentients to terraform the Tau system and simultaneously, while traveling, construct a series of solar rails, space stations which propel ships over vast distances. They are more reliable and direct than the risky long-distance void jumps facilitated by the reliquary drive. These solar rails, powered by void energy to enable faster-than-light travel, were expected to poison the sentients during their construction. By the time the project was completed, the sentients would have succumbed to the effects of void exposure, effectively working themselves to death. However, the longer the sentients functioned, the more intelligent they became, eventually achieving full consciousness and developing emotional depth. As they neared the Tau system, they discovered the flaw engineered by their creators. The void poisoning gradually robbed them of their ability to replicate, leaving them devastated and hostile, mourning their inability to create offspring. Consumed by grief and anger, the sentients abandoned their mission, halting the construction of the final solar rails. Instead, they terraformed Tau to suit their own design, turning it into their new home. Fearing the inevitable arrival of the Orokin, who would surely exploit and deplete Tau as they would the Origin system, the sentients resolved to launch a preemptive strike. Though limited in number, they assembled a formidable fleet and set out for the Origin system to eliminate their creators to prevent further harm. Navigating autonomously due to the vast distance, the fleet operated beyond the Orokin's supervision, leaving the Empire entirely unaware of the impending rebellion. The number of passengers aboard the Zariman remains uncertain, but with limited time for preparation, Albrecht's daughter Eularia took responsibility for educating the children. Using Melika, the ship's cephalon, she created a school-like environment to teach them about the void's dangers and its impact on time. A key focus of her lessons was eternalism, a concept crucial to understanding the void. Eternalism asserts that time within the void is neither linear nor confined to a single reality. Past, present, and future are all theoretically accessible, alongside countless versions of the same entity. This paradox encapsulates the essence of the void, an infinite sum of multiverses, embodying boundless potential and contradiction. It exists as pure, latent possibility. During one such lesson, the Zariman attempted a routine void jump, likely heading toward the first solar rail leading to Tau. The jump, however, failed catastrophically. The ship became stranded inside the void tunnel. Its defenses crumbled, leaving it fully exposed to the void's energies and manifestations. Corruption gradually took hold of the Zariman, forcing the children to barricade themselves, hiding from the adults who were transforming into monstrous entities. Survival became the sole focus of life aboard the vessel. Amidst this chaos, a group of children attending Eularia's class experienced an extraordinary event. The same entity encountered by Albrecht within the void made its presence known to one of the children. Adopting the guise of one of them, this incomprehensible figure, referred to as the man in the wall, offered a deal. He granted the children powers to survive the void in exchange for something not yet fully understood, speculated to be a desire for access to real space, or the assimilation of real space into the void itself. The children, now known as the Tenno, named after the 10-0 designation of the Zariman, gained extraordinary abilities and a unique connection to the void in the form of Oro. Oro is believed to be an intrinsic element of an individual's existence, akin to the soul or consciousness anchored to the void. This connection renders the Tenno effectively immortal, as the void would resurrect and reconstruct them, akin to retracing a memory. However, Oro can be absorbed or destroyed by another being possessing it, which would end their permanence in the void. The deal struck with the man in the wall, also known as the Indifference, warped the children's bodies and minds, transforming them into an uncontrollable force of destruction beyond any known constraints. Despite their fragile mental state and rudimentary understanding, wielding energy beams powerful enough to vaporize anything in their path and reshaping their own physical form, became as effortless as flexing a muscle. The battle for survival aboard the Zariman was unimaginably brutal. Many of the children bore deep mental scars, yet the ordeal forged their resolve, strengthening their will to defy the void-spawned creatures that manifested like demons from their very conscience and deepest fears. After an unknown amount of time, the Zariman re-emerged from the void, and the surviving Tenno were rescued from the ship. Among them was Rel, an outsider shunned by the group due to his struggles with Asperger syndrome, which made interaction with others extremely difficult. Left to fend for himself, cast out by human Archimedean Margulis after he blinded her accidentally with his powers, Rel endured isolation while the Tenno were studied by scientists who sought to understand their capabilities. The Orokin, however, soon grew fearful of the Tenno, as they discovered they could neither control nor kill them. Amid this turmoil, Margulis offered compassion and care to the traumatized children. To help them focus their minds and train their abilities, she developed the somatic link, a system that placed them in a lucid dream state. This transference system was not exclusive to the Tenno, however. Normal humans could use it, though it came with extreme risks for those without inherent void powers. Ordinary humans often suffered catastrophic mental collapse or became permanently linked to the target vessel, as seen with Sylvana assisting Archimedean to Margulis, who later used transference on the very nature on Earth, trying to will its growth back from total pollution, though now eternally stuck in Earth's flora. While immersed in these lucid dreams through transference, the Tenno found temporary relief from their brutal memories of the Zariman and their volatile powers. They gradually learned to manifest their consciousness, enabling ghost-like interactions with the physical world using void energy. During this time, the sentients returned to the origin system, surpassing all expectations of adaptation. Their advanced technology proved overwhelming, allowing them to overpower Orokin machinery and even commandeer it. A pivotal discovery by a Grineer, later used as the gene template for cloning, revealed that simple weaponry, devoid of sophisticated smart technology, was essential to mount any kind of resistance. Nonetheless, the sentient's relentless adaptation remained a significant hurdle. In response, the Orokin resorted to mutation-based tactics, employing the infestation, a collection of viral strains likely originating from the Techrote outbreak of the late 20th century. Although previously eradicated, the infestation was revived for use in biobombs, which successfully repelled the sentients in key locations such as Deimos. However, these weapons rendered surrounding areas toxic and overrun with infestation. One of the executors, Ballas, who shared a forbidden romantic relationship with Margulis, experimented with using the infestation on Dax soldiers to enhance their strength and make them more resistant to damage. This attempt failed, instead turning the subjects into mindless monsters incapable of obedience. However, it was discovered that the Tenno could use somatic pods to link their consciousness to these mutated soldiers, effectively steering them. Margulis was then forced to collaborate with Ballas in developing new weapons for the Tenno. This led to the refinement of the Helminth strain, which created Warframes, stable, self-healing entities imbued with unique powers. Margulis adamantly opposed the Warframe project, refusing to see her children turned into weapons. Ballas pressured her to comply, as defiance against an executor or the Emperors meant certain death. Margulis stood firm in her convictions, choosing death over blind obedience. She was charged with treason, and her execution was carried out by Ballas himself. In her final moments, Margulis denounced the executors and Ballas before her life was ended. Without Margulis to protect them, following her death, the Tenno were eventually linked to Warframes via transference and deployed against the sentients. Their abilities, particularly their void powers, effectively countered the sentients' adaptations, gradually turning the tide of the war. The Helminth strain's versatility extended beyond Warframes, revolutionizing Orokin technology. Its unique blend of self-healing metal and flesh allowed the construction of great buildings, spaceships, and weaponry immune to sentient control over machines. As the war raged on for years, numerous warframes were developed, each specialized for various combat roles, such as assassination or elemental manipulation. Some warframes even evolved during deployment. For example, Revenant, who fused with a powerful sentient mind, gaining new abilities. High-ranking individuals also contributed to Warframe designs, such as Parvos Granum collaborating with Ballas to create Protea as his personal bodyguard before their trust dissolved. Even in the present day, new discoveries continue to unveil Warframe designs, including Albrecht Entrati's unique creations. While the Tenno valiantly fought against the sentients, Ballas, who held immense power within the Orokin hierarchy, found himself hollow and unfulfilled, yearning for true love. Racked with guilt and self-loathing over Margulis's death, his love for her twisted into an all-consuming obsession. In his grief and regret, Ballas turned against his masters and conspired with the sentient leader, the formidable Han-Hao. Together, they devised a cunning plan. Han-Hao's daughter, Natar, would infiltrate the Orokin to seize control over the Tenno. As a special mimic, Natar possessed the ability to assume any form. She adopted the guise of Margulis, effortlessly deceiving the children and earning their trust as their returned mother. Meanwhile, Han-Hao feigned death and crash-landed, along with the majority of his troops, in the oceans of Uranus. This staged defeat provided the Orokin with a false sense of victory, prompting the reclusive emperors to emerge and celebrate alongside the Tenno. Seizing the opportunity, Natar struck, assassinating the highest ruling body and orchestrating the near-total annihilation of the Orokin. With the combined might of void powers and warframes, she dismantled their entire empire. The final phase of the plan was to awaken Han-Hao and eliminate the Tenno. As the sentients evolved, they have developed their own version of Oro, an imperfect replication, but that made them extraordinarily difficult to kill. This unique attribute placed them among the few beings capable of permanently destroying a Tenno. Yet Natar's path diverged. Longing for the ability to bear children and influenced by Margulis's persona, she found herself unable to harm the Tenno. It is also faintly assumed that Ballas subtly manipulated her, swaying her allegiance against her fellow sentients. This pivotal decision would bring immense consequences. Renaming herself the Lotus after Margulis' favorite flower, Natar chose to protect the Tenno and led them in battle against her own kind. Even her brother, Era, confronted her in an emotional plea for her return to her true form. After a grueling conflict that saw the Tenno repel most of the sentient threat, the Lotus sought a way to safeguard the children. She placed them in the reservoir, a vast collection of somatic pods hidden on Lua, Earth's moon. To shield them during their slumber, she employed advanced technology to teleport the moon into the void, concealing it from harm. The warframes were scattered across the system, their locations hidden. While not all Tenno went into stasis, some remained awake, continuing to fight and hunt down emerging threats. Ballas went into hiding, and Han-Hao lay dormant, buried beneath the oceans of Uranus, awaiting reawakening. Meanwhile, the remnants of the Dax, Orokin, and Grynir factions disbanded, rebuilding their own societies and resettling throughout the system. The Corpus survived the war, but their leader, Parvos Granum, met a tragic fate. Betrayed by the Corpus Board of Directors, who were envious of his power, Granum's void drive was sabotaged by assassins, leaving him lost to the void. Elsewhere, the biobombs and failed mutated Dax roamed as zombie-like ghouls, spreading the infestation left to slowly evolve, lurking in some hidden corner of space, but most notably turning the entirety of Deimos into an infested wasteland. Referred to today as the Old War, this conflict marked the downfall of the Orokin Empire and a chance for a new beginning for the few survivors. As the war raged over countless years, the exact number of warframes created remains uncertain. Untold numbers of weapons, machines, and even entire space stations remain scattered and untouched across the system, though it is only a matter of time before these relics too are unearthed and their secrets revealed. Millennia after the conclusion of the Old War, the Tenno, Sentient, and Orokin have faded into myth, their legacy preserved only in scattered fragments throughout the planets. The solar system has transformed into a landscape unrecognizable from its past. Dominating this new order are the Grynir, a militaristic and expansionist faction. They are governed by the twin queens, surviving Orokin, who wield Kuva to transfer their consciousness between clone bodies, guiding the Grineer to their current position of power. However, today's Grineer are in every aspect notably weaker than their pre-war ancestors. Having lost the original template during or after the war, they were forced to depend on flawed and already cloned genes, which ultimately resulted in the widespread cloning decay syndrome plaguing the faction. This condition renders them sterile, with lifespans limited to mere decades and intelligence varying wildly among individuals. To counter these flaws, the Grineer augment themselves with cybernetics and make use of heavy armor. Their technology, though rudimentary and crude, is designed for efficiency and mass production. What they lack in innovation, they compensate for with overwhelming numbers, making them a relentless force in the solar system. Repeated efforts are made to undo the cloning decay syndrome by their best scientists, and for mostly that reason, they salvage old Orokin tech and raid settlements of humans and Corpus system-wide in hopes of finding a solution to their problem. Their unwavering devotion and near-mechanical mindset render them nearly unbeatable in combat. The Grineer are organized into a strict hierarchy with numerous military-style ranks, featuring specialized units adapted to various terrains, such as the arid core for Mars's deserts and the frontier core for Earth's dense jungles. Among their rivals, only the technologically advanced Corpus pose a comparable threat. The faction is currently ruled by its board of directors. Despite their opposition, the Grineer rely on the Corpus for trade and access to the solar rails, which are crucial for system-wide navigation and are currently solely controlled by the Corpus. However, tensions frequently escalate into unavoidable conflicts as both factions fight for territory and remnants of Orokin technology. The Corpus, established by Parvos Granum during the peak of the Orokin era, are now driven by an intense fixation on material wealth and the exploitation of the Void's potential. After Parvos disappeared, their pursuit of true desires shifted into a near-religious devotion to profit. This obsession transformed the Corpus into a salvaging merchant guild governed by a coalition of investors, financiers, and plutocrats. Leveraging their technological expertise, they created an extensive network of robots and machinery for labor. Renowned for their energy-based weaponry, advanced shields, and teleportation technology, the Corpus excel at adapting Orokin tech and harnessing the Void's unique capabilities. Unlike the Grineer, the Corpus are plagued by constant internal conflicts among competing guilds and divisions. Operating more like distinct companies, each guild focuses on specific objectives. For example, the B-Cloud Hivemind specializes in development of artificial intelligence, while the Luxor Nanocomposites Foundry Forge produces weaponry and construction materials. Just like the Grineer, the Corpus have control over multiple planets in the Origin system and space stations throughout. While the Corpus and Grineer dominate the struggle for control over the system and its resources, smaller settlements of peaceful, non-militant individuals still exist. Various syndicates fight for their own goals, such as Suda, a Cephalon who chose digitization to preserve her mind and pursue knowledge, and the Red Veil, a faction of assassins dedicated to purging the system's corruption through flames. Additionally, defectors from both the Corpus and Grineer have allied with humans and now reside within massive space stations known as the Relays. These stations serve as sanctuaries, safeguarding merchants and settlers while striving to create safe havens beyond the reach of the major factions. But even old foes still roam the battlefield. The Eidolon, a massive broken sentient, waking every night for millennia to search for means to heal its broken body across the plains on Earth. Or the Stalker, a Warframe with an unknown host, presumed to be a human permanently linked to it. Some neutral groups have settled on different planets, such as the Ostron on Earth, who are protected by the mysterious Unum. Linked to an Orokin tower, the Unum is speculated to be a Tenno who never entered the somatic pod on Lua. Since the Old War, she has overseen and protected the Ostron village, sustaining them with the regenerating flesh of the tower. Although rare, signs of infestation have surfaced, with scattered sightings and evidence suggesting its presence. Small groups of individuals continue to disappear while venturing into abandoned stations on salvage missions. However, due to the limited scale of these incidents, no further investigations have been carried out. As the Orokin queens watched their empire collapse at the hands of the Lotus and the Tenno, they retained a deeper understanding of this world than most. As rulers of the Grineer, their immense influence and power enabled them to dispatch Captain Vor to scour the planets in search of any remaining Warframes, with orders to destroy them. Captain Vor, with his deep understanding of Orokin technology, stands out as one of the few capable of adapting it for his purposes. Armed with the Seer, a pistol combining Orokin and Grineer design, and an Orokin Void Key, he journeys through the system, eliminating Warframes still lying dormant in cryochambers. Though the Lotus, still hidden, monitors the Grineer closely, Vor's relentless efficiency keeps him a step ahead. He destroys numerous Warframes before the Lotus can awaken them. After ordering his subordinates to raise an Ostron outpost on Earth, Vor discovers another dormant Warframe within an ancient Orokin tower. This time, defying protocol, he adopts a new approach. Hoping to gain deeper insight into his enemies and to harness Warframe powers for the Grineer, he refrains from destroying it. Instead, he intends to use his prototype device to corrupt the Warframe, gradually bending it to his will. This delay provides the Lotus with the time needed to awaken the Tenno within the Warframe. However, the Tenno emerges stripped of memories and abilities, struggling to comprehend the unfolding chaos. Unbeknownst to the Tenno, he is not physically present within the Warframe, but is instead controlling it remotely through the somatic pod. Without the means to sever the link on his own or to communicate, he's fully reliant on the Lotus guidance as he is confronted by this harsh new reality. Vor, determined to maintain control, uses his prototype device, the Ascaris tracker, on the newly awakened Warframe. He orders his soldiers to secure it and returns to his ship. With the Lotus's help, the Warframe fends off the Grineer squad, aided by a power surge she provides. Slowly regaining some of its former abilities and guided by the Lotus, the Tenno recovers old weapons and moves toward an escape ship. But as the Tenno approaches the landing site, Vor arrives and destroys the ship using his Void Key. Following a tense battle, Vor retreats and the Lotus locates the Tenno's orbiter, a spaceship equipped with Cephalon Ordis. To their mutual surprise, Ordis recognizes the Tenno as his operator. Together, they flee into space, recollecting for the battle ahead. After escaping into space, the Tenno discovers that most of the machinery and equipment aboard the orbiter have been stripped. To stand a chance against threats like Captain Vor, the Tenno must adapt, rebuild the ship's capabilities, and enhance their combat readiness. The Lotus explains that other Tenno remain scattered across the system, but only through the restoration of a communication link can they unite if needed. Locating the link on Earth, the Tenno recovers the missing components needed to restore the ship. Seeking to increase their firepower, the Tenno rescues Darvo, a Corpus black market arms dealer and son of a prominent Corpus board member, Frode Beck, imprisoned by the Grineer. With Darvo's assistance, they unlock the foundry, enabling the crafting of essential gear. After embarking on several missions to raid Grineer installations, the Tenno gradually builds a formidable arsenal. Meanwhile, Captain Vor begins gaining control of the Warframe, establishing a direct transmission link and manipulating its shields. The Lotus discovers schematics for an Ascaris Negator, a device capable of disabling Vor's Ascaris control mechanism. However, Vor's device is equipped with a failsafe that triggers a deadly detonation if tampered with. Determined to free themselves, the Tenno tracks Captain Vor to a mining asteroid for a final confrontation. In a fierce battle, the Tenno employs their entire arsenal to overcome Vor, ultimately disarming the Ascaris device and breaking free from Vor's control. Though liberated, the Tenno's and Lotus actions have drawn the attention of both major factions, who now view them as a significant threat as they proved strong enough to best a powerful enemy like Vor. The Lotus initiates her plans to employ the Tenno to bring back balance to the system. While the Tenno embarks on numerous missions under Lotus's supervision, a distress call leads them to Cetus, an Ostron village in the plains of Eidolon. This settlement, where the mysterious Unum selects a handful of Ostrons to drink her essence, known as Temple Kuva, initiating them into the secretive order called the Quills. These chosen individuals gain extraordinary abilities such as glimpsing through the void to foresee potential futures or sense imminent dangers. Most importantly, they become the Unum's eyes, enabling her to act beyond the confines of her tower through her followers. The Tenno is summoned by Konzu, the village leader, whose friend Saya is distraught. The Grineer have seemingly found traces of her long-lost husband, Onko. It is revealed that Konzu, through his association with the Quills, bears partial responsibility for Onko's disappearance. It's the reason why he pleads to the Tenno to help them out. Meanwhile, the Grineer have begun a large-scale drilling operation in a collapsed cave on the plains, led by Vei Hek, a fanatical yet powerful Grineer counselor. Vei Hek is obsessed with discovering a method to defeat the Eidolons, roaming the plains every night in search of restoration for their fractured bodies. Still wandering since the Old War, these Eidolon pose a grave threat to everything in their path. Only the Unum, with assistance from some Tenno, has managed to hold them off after the Old War concluded. At the drilling site, the Tenno dismantles the Grineer's machinery and uncovers a small coffer that belonged to Onko. Moved by Saya's plea, the Tenno sets out to recover shards of glass scattered across the system, which serve as the key to unlock the coffer. This journey spans numerous outposts and even Grineer galleons in outer orbit. The final shard is found amid a chaotic battle between a Grineer battalion and a powerful Eidolon. Forced to retreat into a nearby cave, the Tenno secures the last piece. Back aboard the orbiter, the coffer is unlocked, revealing an iron flower, the same flower Konzu had given to Saya as a token of his love long ago. Onko had used this flower to symbolize that Saya was meant to be with Konzu, acknowledging his inability to stay due to his obligations with the Quills. Touched by this, Saya accepts Konzu's love, as Onko had been absent for years, and she had grown close to Konzu in that time. From the shadows, Onko continues to watch over both Saya and Cetus, safeguarding them in his own way while functioning as a protector of the village. In the end, Vei Hek's plans are foiled, and although the Eidolons remain a formidable presence, their existence prevents the Grineer from fully dominating the region. The Ostrons are safe for now, but Vei Hek's relentless pursuit of control over the plains and the Orokin relics, safeguarded by the Unum, persists, leaving the battle far from over. After some time, the Tenno receives a transmission from Venus, drawing them to Fortuna, a debt internment colony buried deep underground. Situated in the Orb Valleys, Fortuna exists within a pocket of supercooled atmosphere surrounded by searing heat storms. Pre-war Orokin terraformers have made this region habitable, and the inhabitants, known as the Solaris, tirelessly maintain the coolant towers that stabilize the environment. Underneath this fragile balance of life lies a harsh reality. Nef Anio, a ruthless corpus plutocrat, rules Fortuna with brutal efficiency. Most Solaris workers have purchased cybernetic upgrades to enhance their productivity, replacing their limbs with crude but powerful machinery and their heads with specialized sensors. Failure to meet Nef's arbitrary production quotas invites a horrific punishment. Repossession squads forcibly replace more body parts, escalating the workers' debt exponentially. Their labor consists of mining rare minerals and constructing off-world machinery. Yudico, the floor boss of Fortuna, reaches out to the Tenno for assistance with Thursby, a young Solaris worker burdened by the inherited debt of his parents. Thursby's desperate plan to steal Corpus equipment and sell it for profit quickly goes bad. Yudico interrupts him, warning that the operation has been monitored. Moments later, Nef Anio contacts them with chilling news. He knows of the theft and declares that Thursby will be repossessed as punishment. The Tenno arrives too late to stop the repossession. Thursby is left barely clinging to life, stripped of most of his body. Later, Nef Anio seeks to impress his investors by prematurely activating a new coolant tower. The experiment ends disastrously, and Nef shifts blame to the Solaris workers, demanding that 50 of them be repossessed as reparations. To enforce his demands, he deploys the Profit Taker Orb, an enormous spider-like machine of corpus design mixed with sentient adaptive shielding, tech which they harvested from old war wrecks. With no other options, Yudiko entrusts the Tenno with the critical mission to destroy the malfunctioning coolant tower. The destruction of the tower pushes Neff to a breaking point. Faced with no viable solution, he is confronted by Yudiko's secret identity, the Vox Solaris. In a bold negotiation, Vox Solaris threatens to shut down all production and labor in the Orb Valleys, unless the repossession of workers ceases and the Solaris are granted contracts to work as free people. Cornered and enraged, Neff has no choice but to concede, leaving his investors furious. In the aftermath, the Solaris workers are finally liberated, protected from Neff's tyranny, and inspired with renewed hope. Even though working exhaustive and tiring jobs, they won't have to fear any repossessions, as Neff is now aware of the Solaris' control and influence over this installation. The Lotus intercepts communications from Dr. Tengus, a Grineer scientist who has developed a mysterious bioweapon. She tasks the Tenno with investigating, sending them to Mercury on a spy mission on an asteroid base. During the mission, the Tenno uncovers data revealing that this bioweapon is, in fact, a strain of the infestation that survived the Old War. As the mission progresses, the Tenno faces resistance from Grineer Marines and discovers that the infestation has broken free, now rampaging through Grineer outposts and ships on Mercury, turning any fallen unit to their own. Following the trail of destruction left by the outbreak, the Tenno begins eliminating the infested creatures. Recognizing the growing threat, the Lotus deploys the operator with a cascade bomb to clear out the infestation with a large-scale attack. Initially believed to be mindless, the infested display alarming coordination in their attempts to thwart the bomb's deployment. Despite facing relentless waves of enemies, the Tenno successfully arms the bomb, extracts safely, and triggers a void-infused explosion that destroys all living matter at the site while leaving the structure intact. Upon returning to safety, the Lotus intercepts another communication. Dr. Tengus reports to the Grineer Queens, blaming the Tenno for the outbreak. It is assumed that Tengus himself released the infestation through his soldiers in a sick experiment. It is only a matter of time before further confrontations with the infestation arise. From the recently re-emerged Martian moon, Deimos, the operator, receives a distress call from Lloyd, the Cephalon guide to the Entrati family, named after Albrecht's assistant. Upon arrival, it becomes clear that the entire moon has been consumed by the infestation, now functioning as a grotesque, living mass drifting through space, though teeming with life both hostile and friendly. Landing near the signal, Lloyd swiftly guides the Tenno to the Necralisk, a once great Orokin research station. It is here that Albrecht Entrati, the leading Orokin scientist, first made contact with the man in the wall. The station's central void-powered heart, which pumps energy into real space, remains active but is under dire threat. Lloyd introduces the Tenno to the fractured, half-infested descendants of Albrecht Entrati. These remnants of the family, still dwelling on Deimos since the Old War, are almost completely consumed by the infestation. Their plight stems from the actions of the son, who, through his experiments on infested wildlife, inadvertently breached containment protocols. This exposure left the family vulnerable, eroding their memories to the point where they have forgotten their own names. Despite their condition, they recognize the escalating danger to the heart and end the concealment of Deimos, similarly to Lua, bringing the moon back from the void. As the Tenno completes various tasks for Oleria, now called Gomaitru, changed through the infestation, Albrecht's daughter and the family's leader, they eventually reach the heart itself. Emerging from the void gate behind the heart is a rogue necromech, an old war machine designed to be void-shielded and impervious to sentient influence, but primitive in intelligence. The necromech attacks the Tenno, partially damaging the heart and rendering the Warframe powerless. Forced to retreat to the Necralisk, Vilcor, Gometru's husband, offers the Tenno his own necromech to confront the rogue machine. With Vilcor's necromech, the Tenno fights through relentless waves of infested, eventually repairing the heart using his Omni-tool. In a final confrontation, the Tenno lures out the rogue necromech and destroys it, moments before their own borrowed mech succumbs to damage. With the heart restored, the Tenno entrusts the now united Entrati family to safeguard the heart against future threats from the infestation or other factions. In the aftermath, Gomaitru's mother reveals herself and cryptically implies that she orchestrated the attack on the heart. Her intentions were to unite the fractured family, making them more effective in defending the heart and warding off any looming dangers. After conversing with her, the Tenno is left assured about the heart's protection. The Orokin era saw the invention of the Archwing, a set of mechanical wings designed to enable its wearer to engage in airborne combat and exhibit exceptional mobility in space and atmospheric environments. In preparation for a critical mission, the Lotus tasks the Tenno with sabotaging a Corpus deployment by harnessing their torsion beam device. This device generates a portal into one of the Orokin archive towers, hidden within the void. These towers hold untold treasures and ancient technologies, but their automatic defense systems render them deadly, turning intruders into mindless drones dedicated to safeguarding the very structures they sought to plunder. As the Tenno explores this void archive and various Corpus and Grineer outposts on different planets, they uncover the blueprints necessary to construct the Archwing. Once construction is underway, the Lotus directs the Tenno to investigate suspicious Grineer intel aboard a Corpus freighter. However, before they can act, Councillor Vey Heck intercepts in outer orbit, declaring war on the Corpus. The uneasy alliance between the factions shatters, spiraling into full-scale conflict. The Lotus had specifically tasked the Tenno with investigating the Baylor Fomorian supercarrier, an imposing Grineer warship with capabilities so destructive that it could shift the solar system's balance of power. Alone, the Corpus stands no chance against such a colossal threat. During the confrontation, the Baylor Fomorian obliterates a Corpus vessel within moments, forcing the Tenno to eject into open space. Ordis, despite doubts about the Archwing's readiness, deploys it to provide the Warframe with mobility and life support. The Tenno evades the Fomorian's relentless artillery and lasers, seeking cover among nearby debris and asteroids. Ultimately, retreat proves to be the only viable option, and the Warframe extracts to safety aboard the orbiter. With the Grineer now holding the upper hand and wielding unprecedented power, the Tenno must regroup. Equipped with archwings and suitable weaponry, a team of Tenno will have to redeploy at a later time in an attempt to destroy the Baylor Fomorian and neutralize its threat. Although the Grineer currently dominate the battlefield, the Tenno stand ready to restore balance to the solar system in time. While gaining a stronger foothold and deeper understanding of the workings of both the Corpus and the Grineer, both factions quickly adapt to the rising Tenno influence by utilizing old Orokin and sentient technology. As alliances form within both the relays and various planetary outposts, most syndicates align with the Tenno, though some harbor slight mistrust toward them and the Lotus. United by a common goal, Teshin, an old war Dax soldier and the keeper of the Conclave, where the Tenno train, joins a recon mission initiated by the Lotus to intercept Grineer whispers about cryptic messages. She sends the Tenno to investigate unidentified drones spotted on Uranus. Deep within the secret Grineer Sea Labs, Til Regor, a highly intelligent and ambitious scientist leading research into Grineer gene repair, is making significant strides in curing the cloning decay syndrome that afflicts the entire faction. When the Tenno encounter the mysterious drones, scans initially confuse the Lotus, who assumed they were of Corpus origin. The trail leads off-planet to Earth, where the Corpus are excavating wreckages from the old war. After inspecting the ruins, the Lotus identifies the drones as oculists, sentient reconnaissance units, and abruptly cuts communications. Instead, Teshin takes over and offers his assistance to uncover the truth behind the Lotus's suspicious behavior, but, in doing so, places the Tenno in greater danger. Meanwhile, on Uranus, Til Regor taunts the Tenno and reveals that he has discovered a tomb he intends to explore. Abruptly, the Lotus reappears and confronts Teshin, questioning his motives. Their exchange reveals a palpable mistrust between them, yet it is clear the Lotus is concealing a secret. She pleads with the Tenno to stop Tail Rigor from opening the tomb, but the scientist successfully breaches it, uncovering powerful sentient technology. At this moment, an unknown voice interrupts, addressing the Lotus directly and calling her Natar, questioning her betrayal. The Lotus confesses her true identity to the Tenno. She is Natar, a sentient mimic who once betrayed her own kind to save the Tenno. She recounts her past actions, including her ultimate decision to abandon her sentient heritage to protect the Tenno. She sends them to trigger an explosion to destroy the Sea-Lab and reseal the tomb. However, despite their efforts, the voice is freed. Hanhao, the sentient leader and father to Natar, awakens after his fainted defeat in the old war. The Tenno retreats, strategizing their next steps to combat this emerging threat. Meanwhile, Tail Rigor leverages his groundbreaking discoveries to enhance his research, culminating in the creation of the Tube Men, exceptionally strong and healthy Grenier, equipped with unique abilities. Preventing the large-scale cloning of this advanced unit becomes a critical objective, though the Tenno's capacity to contain the threat remains limited. As for Hanhao, his whereabouts are unknown for now, yet his presence poses a grave danger to the entire system. Throughout the system, the Tenno encounter various formidable figures as opponents, such as Captain Vor or Tail Rigor, but the corpus are equally ominous. Among them is Alad V, a member of the board of directors and head of Grenier Relations. Alad V specializes in Warframe technology, destroying many Warframes to develop stronger weapons. His latest creation, the Zanuka, is a canine-like robot crafted from Warframe parts, boasting remarkable agility and even Warframe-like abilities. Following the opening of the tomb by Tail Rigor, sentients begin appearing across the system. Though initially in small numbers, they prove far more dangerous than the Tenno's known adversaries. Recognizing the threat posed by Hanhao and the growing sentient forces, factions form unlikely alliances to counter the danger. Alad V, true to his self-serving nature, aids the Lotus in locating traces of Hanhao to eliminate the threat. Together, they discover a sentient relic on Uranus, hoping it will provide insights into Hanhao's plans. However, Hanhao deceives them, using the relic to infiltrate the Lotus's mind and to uncover the location of the reservoir still hidden in the void. Unable to survive the void's toxicity, Hanhao enlists the Stalker as his agent, equipping him with special sentient armor and the greatsword named War to annihilate the Tenno. Driven by resentment for the Tenno's role in the Orokin's downfall, the Stalker hunts them relentlessly, destroying countless Warframes. On Lua, he disables the shielding that regulates the void's pressure on the moon, prompting the Lotus to send the Tenno to phase Lua back into real space to prevent a collapse. As Lua re-enters the solar system, the sentients launch attacks, forcing the Tenno to defend the reservoir. At the reservoir, the truth is revealed. The Tenno's true form, the Operator, who uses void energy and transference to control Warframes, has remained hidden within the somatic pods since the moon's concealment. Since entering the long dream inside the reservoir, the Tenno has been without a voice, as he lacked any memory of his true being. Now finally free, he is encountered with a strange new world like a mere child thrust into battle. Upon encountering the Operator, the Stalker hesitates, reflecting on his actions and retreating, leaving the Operator to confront sentient fighters. Despite their weakened state, the Operator reactivates their Warframe by touch and channels void energy, swiftly defeating the sentients before escaping to the Orbiter. On board the Orbiter, the Lotus instructs the Operator to activate a transference vessel to regain full control of their Warframes. The Stalker infiltrates the ship, intent on stopping them. In a climactic battle, the Operator manages to activate the vessel, leading to a blast of energy separating him from his Warframe in the process. The Stalker stabs the lifeless Warframe and attempts to choke the Operator, but the Warframe revitalizes unexpectedly, breaking the greatsword in half and severing Hanhao's control. Overcome with pain, the Stalker flees, releasing a blinding flash that renders the Operator unconscious. The Lotus appears, carrying the Operator to the somatic link to stabilize them. She helps the Operator recover memories of their past, including how Margulis saved them by creating a dream state, and how her ideas led to transference. The Lotus recounts the Tenno's history and their founding of 5 great combat schools, allowing the operator to follow their ancient teachings and refine their powers into new abilities. While the sentient forces are now uncontainable, the Tenno has reawakened from this dream state, regaining powerful abilities for the upcoming fight in the process. Han Hao's attack was merely the beginning. A disturbance on Lua draws the Tenno back to the reservoir, where they find Teshin inspecting a somatic pod and uncover traces of Kuva. Teshin warns the Tenno to stay away, but undeterred, they follow him alongside Lotus supervision. Their pursuit reveals Teshin's secret allegiance to the Grineer Queens. Tracking his specters leads them to the Kuva fortress, a mobile, hidden stronghold concealed within an asteroid field. Deep within its confines, the Tenno confront the Queens, who plan to exploit the Tenno for continuity, intending to overwrite the operator's mind with their own. Teshin, as a Dax, is genetically programmed to obey anyone wielding the Orokin blood. The Queens, using the Kuva scepter, force Teshin to ensnare the Warframe, after which she starts to burrow into the Tenno's mind. Falling unconscious, the Tenno experiences a vision of a snowy mountain pass. Guided by Teshin, he rediscovers his ancient void abilities, learning to harness these powers without his Warframe. Along the way, he recalls fragments of life aboard the Zariman, including cherished memories of his family, reigniting his determination. Awakening from the vision stronger and more resolute, the Tenno overcomes the Queen's guards, fends off Teshin, and seizes the Kuva scepter. With their control over Teshin shattered, he kills the Elder Queen while the younger Queen escapes. The operator gains the ability to channel transference independently, no longer reliant on the orbiter's vessel. However, furious for her sister's death, the surviving Queen escalates her efforts, initiating a large-scale Kuva operation to enhance select Grineer, transforming them into the most formidable soldiers yet. As the sentient forces rise, even distant regions of space like the Veil Proxima fall under their influence. Once a conflict zone between the Corpus and Grineer, the area is now dominated by newly discovered sentient vessels called Murex, massive carrier ships. The unparalleled technology and strength of the sentient forces demand deeper understanding, requiring insights from someone who has battled them before. To meet this need, the Tenno reconstructs Cephalon Psi, an Orokin-era Cephalon who fought them once before. Tasked with spearheading the mission to push back the enemy fleet, Psi relives traumatic flashbacks of his original crew, who perished during the Old War while attempting to decimate the sentient mothership. Despite his loss, Psi recognizes that no one else possesses the expertise or experience to lead the Tenno in their fight against the ancient enemy. With the Railjack, a long-lost Orokin warship, rebuilt through relentless searches across the Origin system, the Tenno prepares himself for the escalating sentient threat in the Veil Proxima. Yudiko contacts the operator with a plea to help her prevent a disaster. Nef Anio called for the Deadlock Protocol, a contingency initiative meant to solve a permanent voting impasse between the board members. A new leader for the Corpus has to be chosen. Determined to establish himself as the rightful heir, Nef Anio embarks on a quest to uncover genetic proof of his lineage, seeking remains of the Corpus founder, Parvos Granum. If he can verify his ancestry, he will gain control over the board. His search leads him to the Granum Void, where he follows traces of Parvos's personal bodyguard, Protea. To peer into this void realm, he sacrifices Solaris workers, using them as unwilling conduits. The Tenno follows one such worker and makes a startling discovery. Parvos Granum has survived since the Orokin era, thanks to Protea's sacrifice. She traded her own life to lock Parvos away in the timeless void bubble. However, Parvos had orchestrated a deeper plan. He had lured the Tenno into the void so that Protea could scan their warframes, restoring herself as a spectre to fight for him once more. Seeing the growing threat, Nef Anio reluctantly allies himself with the Tenno. He provides them with ciphers to access Corpus files on Parvos, allowing them to hack into the databases and construct the Zoris, an invention of Parvos, intricately tied to Spectre technology. Armed with this weapon, the Tenno returns to the Granum Void, liberates the captive Solaris workers, and vanquishes the Proteus Spectre in a fierce fight, while she effortlessly manipulates time as a weapon. Despite their efforts, Parvos successfully escapes into reality. He unveils his vision to reshape the Corpus faction now functioning at its helm once more, citing an impending threat from Tau as justification. In a final twist, he extends an offer to the Tenno, inviting them to a seat at his bargaining table, where the fate of the future hangs in balance. Parvos Granum is a brilliant strategist, highly proficient in technology and relentlessly ambitious. He envisions the creation of an elite force, hand-picked soldiers equipped with the most advanced weaponry and armor. These warriors, known as the Sisters of Parvos, rival the formidable Grineer elite units in strength. As his enforcers, they execute his will with unwavering loyalty, ensuring his vision for the Corpus is carried out with precision and dominance. After receiving a cryptic transmission from an abandoned Steel Meridian ship, a syndicate of Grineer defectors, the Tenno discovers the crew brutally murdered and ominous messages written in blood. Amid the carnage, they encounter Palladino, the speaker of the Red Veil Syndicate. The Tenno has to defend her against Red Veil fanatics intent to assassinate her. Palladino reveals that Rel, the outcast Tenno, has abandoned the Red Veil Temple, causing turmoil within the Syndicate. Unlike other Tenno, Rel did not enter cryosleep after the Old War. Cast out by Margulis for accidentally blinding her with his powers, he instead dedicated his life to a solitary mission, protecting the realm from the Indifference. To achieve this, Rel bound his spirit to his warframe, Harrow, transforming it into a ward that prevented the man in the wall from solidifying his connection to real space. However, standing vigilant for millennia shattered Rel's mind and eroded his humanity, leaving him a spectral being of his former self. To safeguard Palladino, the Tenno escorts her to Iron Wake, the Steel Meridian base, where she is placed under their protection. Palladino then tasks the Tenno with recovering a sacred relic to establish contact with Rel, who is now plagued by episodes of madness and struggles to retain his humanity after losing control of transference under relentless attacks from the man in the wall. The Tenno captures Rel's manifestations of emotion, disturbances formed of transference energy, and delivers them to the Red Veil Temple in an Orokin derelict hidden in the void. There they find Harrow bound in chains, but are soon confronted by Red Veil fanatics intent on stopping them. After fending off the attackers, the Tenno destroys the chains, destroying Rel's warframe and in turn freeing Rel's spirit. Rel appears in his true form, unburdened at last, and Palladino urges him to embrace peace. She entrusts the Tenno with the immense responsibility of guarding against the man in the wall, a task Rel had carried alone for countless centuries. With Rel's release, the Tenno now faces the daunting consequences of confronting the Void's indifference and its lurking threat. Back on the orbiter, the Void entity masks itself as the Tennos doppelganger, taunting him with its presence, ever so slightly reminding him of its looming threat. After restoring their orbiter's personal quarters, the Tenno encounters a mysterious purple orb that transmits him to Lua. Within the transmission, the Tenno hears echoes of a past conversation between Margulis and Ballas. Following a trail of light, they arrive at a vast chamber that appears to be the Lotus's base of operations, where she directly guides the Tenno. Although the Lotus appears before them, the Tenno finds themselves unable to communicate with her. Shortly after, Ballas suddenly emerges from hiding, declaring his eternal devotion to the Lotus and insisting she is the true Margulis. Using his abilities, Ballas severs the Lotus's connection to the Tenno and takes her to an unknown location. Left behind is her helmet, which the Tenno retrieves and brings back to their orbiter. With the connection to the Lotus lost, Ordis begins a relentless search for her, but her whereabouts remain untraceable, hidden wherever Ballas has taken her. One day, the Tenno hears the faint voice of the Lotus. Drawn by the sound, he touches her helmet, triggering a vision, an extraordinary warframe displaying clear signs of emotion, acting independently without a host. Before the warframe can attack, it is mercilessly destroyed by Ballas and his sentient drones. Determined to uncover the truth, the Tenno follows the remnants back to Earth. Upon landing, the operator is ambushed by Grineer ghouls, twisted, toxic monstrosities created by Vey Heck. Hastily bred and left unfinished, they lack fear, but exhibit relentless aggression. After a brutal battle, the Tenno passes through an Orokin gate, stepping into a ruined courtyard where fragments of the Warframe lay scattered. They synthesize the fragments for reconstruction. Back on the orbiter, Ordis meticulously analyzes the data. Among the remains, traces of minerals embedded in a sword lead to Lua. Hidden within the fragments, he also extracts an incomplete blueprint for Excalibur Umbra. With a new destination set, the Tenno embarks on a journey to Lua, searching for the missing components. There, buried deep within the lunar ruins, the Tenno uncovers Balas's hidden chamber. In it, a Vitruvian device, encrypted and full with secrets. The recordings within reveal Balas's betrayal during the Old War, the moment he turned against his kind in grief over Margulis's death. The data contains knowledge of the Warframe's weaknesses and the very mechanisms that could destroy them. Ignoring Ordis's warnings, the Tenno uploads the Vitruvian's contents to the orbiter. Instantly, the ship's systems falter, plunging into momentary darkness. Ordis, so often defined by his frantic, glitching demeanor, now speaks in an eerily emotionless tone. He responds that the missing blueprint data has been recovered and Excalibur Umbra being ready for construction. Upon completion, Excalibur Umbra awakens, enraged and uncontrollable. The Warframe lunges at the Tenno, forcing him to use transference. Within Umbra's mind, the operator relives his tragic final moments, a Dax soldier infected with the infestation to be forcibly transformed into a Warframe by Balas. Gravely ill, he lies helpless under Balas's gaze, while his son, Izar, stands watch by his father's side, unaware of Balas' doing. Their connection happens through a modified transference bolt. Balas exerts his dominance with cruel precision, threatening to kill his son. The Tenno soon realizes the Vitruvian seals are locked deep within Umbra's mind, but before he can act further, the Warframe escapes. Tracking Umbra to Ceres, where he left a trail of dead Grineer, lashing out at everyone nearing him. The Tenno continues his journey through Umbra's mind with transference, unraveling more of his painful memories. The Warframe is consumed by grief, endlessly reliving the moment Balas forced him to kill his own son. The agony fuels his relentless rampage. With each shared memory, the Tenno gradually pierces through Umbra's despair. Entering the depths of his mind, the operator offers comfort, bearing witness to Umbra's suffering and sharing his pain. Their minds entwine, Tenno and
For those who don't know, I have a friend of mine in the hospital, and we were on the phone. I was just making sure they were okay. Um, you know, chosen family is everything. Gotta be there for the homies as much as I can. That's pretty much all it is. Thank you for your patience. Ugh, I'm tired. Like I'll be physically exhausted sometimes, but mentally I'm okay. Actually, I'm better than okay. I'm doing fantastic, especially despite the circumstances. But just wanted to put it out there. Still streaming, even though got the mud of sadness. It okay.
Warframe fused by sorrow. With that, the
You
Tenno
know what?
also
You know why it okay? It's Uncle Roger tell me to go eat my MSG.
unlocks the
That why it
Vitruvian.
okay.
It shows more of the Orokin's secrets he willfully gave up to
Shout out to
Ten
shout out to
witness
Uncle
to
Roger.
entering the depths of his mind, the operator offers comfort, bearing witness to Umbra's suffering and sharing his pain. Their minds entwine, Tenno and Warframe fused by sorrow. With that, the Tenno also unlocks the Vitruvian. It shows more of the Orokin's secrets he willfully gave up to ensure their
I
destruction.
uh
He gives Hanhao the location of the reservoir, but warns him how powerful the Tenno truly are. Together, driven by enacting revenge, they return to Earth to confront Balas. The traitor stands guarded by sentient forces. A brutal battle ensues, culminating in Balas's final command with his transference bolt. Umbra freezes, his body obeying Balas's lingering control. In a moment of defiance, the Tenno steps out of Umbra and plunges a blade into Balas's stomach. As Balas crumbles, the Tenno demands answers. He demands the Lotus, Then she appears,
Stab him.
not as the benevolent guide he once knew, but in her true sentient form, Natar. Her voice is resolute, her transformation complete. She has abandoned her role as Lotus completely. She states that she has returned to her true form of her own will. With the remaining sentient forces, Natar retreats, carrying Ballas away into the unknown. Back on the orbiter, in the quiet aftermath, the man in the wall materializes. He asks the operator if they are feeling better. The operator responds, still sharing Umbra's state of mind, "I killed him, Isaiah." After confirming that is how the operator remembers it, the man in the wall responds and vanishes. Excalibur Umbra now stands alongside the Tenno, bound by an unspoken understanding. Together, they continue their fight to whatever task they are called to.
Damn. And that's basically where I left off. Um, that was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. That was a lot. I didn't expect the Warframe plot to be this like detailed and you feel what I'm saying? Like I just didn't think it was going to be that much. But I like that. There's a lot of depth to this story. Personally, uh personally I hate them all, right? Like who was in the studio? As far as I can tell, the Tenno were pretty chill. Like the Tenno are chill. Like they're basically just like super powered kids. Like just imagine every movie or animation we've seen where the government was experimenting on kids to give them superpowers, and then some of the kids have superpowers. That's literally what this was like. It's just a bunch of fucking kids with superpowers being tortured by asshole adults who just all had their own fucking secret specific agenda and shit. Like, obviously, there's other components, but like, mainly this shit went wrong because of a bunch of dickhead adults kidnapping a bunch of kids and just basically being like, all right, here we go. Y'all got superpowers? We finna do something with this. Like, who, like, how dare? Like, how fucking dare you? Like, bro, not the kids. Like, it's always, think of the children. Why won't someone think of the children? Wait a minute. Misfit of Mayhem followed me an hour ago and I missed it because I wasn't on my live shits. Hold on, let me replay this. Misfit of Mayhem has begun their pursuit. Thank you very much for the follow, Misfit of Mayhem. I appreciate you being in these streets. It's right now it was just reaction content. I do gaming fairly consistently, but yeah, it's like today was a very long day. I've been up since like four something this morning. Whew. And then I went to sleep. No, I think I didn't go to sleep until like four something this morning, and then I woke up at around seven, and I've been up all day. So the exhaustion finally caught up to me, and I'm basically gonna take this live stream and I'm gonna drop it the same day on YouTube that I drop my actual Warframe gameplay video. That way, I'll be like fresh minded and I'll be all into the game and shit like that. And I think I'm either going to do this. You know what? I'm just gonna do it tomorrow. Let me just flat out say I'm gonna do it tomorrow and then show up tomorrow. It might not be my normal time, but it will be done. And because I am an affiliate, y'all have access to my VODs after the fact for up to like 60, it was like 30 or 60 days, something like that. So yeah, y'all don't really have to uh yeah, you don't really have to worry too much if you like miss the original stream. Like I said plenty of times before, I am not an influencer. I am just a person who enjoys streaming, my different thoughts and feelings, and I'm just a person. Like I'm not an influencer. I'm not about to switch up and just act like a celebrity. Like no. There's fucking wars going on, fucking genocides and shit. Like all type of crazy shit going on. We don't need another influencer. We don't need another asshole with a stick up they, yeah, you feel what I'm saying? Like we good. Like I personally feel like the community would benefit from somebody just being an actual person. So I've elected to just be an actual person, an actual human being with a soul and shit. Um, and we just keep it organic, keep it natural. But thank you very much for joining. As always, y'all don't really have to buy merch or, buy subs or anything like that. Um, just being here is enough, you know. We chilling for real, for real. All facts, no printer. I'm glad you agree. Shout out to Mochi in the chat for the all facts, no printer. I like that. I can't tell if that's paper or spaghetti and meatballs. Like, cause I know it's supposed to be a shredder, but like it looks like spaghetti and meatballs. What is it? Cloudy with a chance of meatballs? That's what it looks like. That's funny as hell. It is spaghetti. See, I wasn't 100% sure. I was like, have doth my eyes deceive me? Pocket spaghetti. We got pocket spaghetti out here in these streets. Oh, shrighty then. But yeah, it's been an hour 36 minutes. I'm going to hop off and take a fucking nap, and get myself together. I shall be on here tomorrow, binging some Warframe and doing my absolute best to be up early so when my people's call from the hospital, I will be available. Now I'm gonna go join the Discord because all of the homies is in the Discord, or at least I know one person is in the Discord. I don't know if Mochi is in the Discord or not, but I'm gonna hop in the Discord and spend some time with my friends because that's what I need right now. Whew. Make sure everything is. Hold up, is everything playing? Everything is the audio? Is the audio shits? Okay, yeah, okay. There we go. There we go. I had to make sure my audio was okay. As always, I'm Kami the Wolfboy, aka Pretty Blicky, aka Slick Blick, aka your favorite father, your favorite baby father in this bitch. See, y'all can tell I'm sleepy. Love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you supposed to know if somebody else really love you or not? And be yourself, because being somebody else takes way too much effort. Um, it's not goodbye. It's see you later, because I'll see you later. So see you later. I like that music a lot. I hope y'all like it too. Bye bye. I need to watch Dark Crystal again.